Hi and welcome. We are moving into week 2 of our February month of delving into Dharma, where we're working with heart-opening practices to build prana and light in the heart so that we can connect with our mind to what's really happening in our heart. So last week we talked about life lessons, the lessons that you've already learned and have changed the way you live and have moved on, and lessons that you're still working your way through. Now, this week, I've asked you to write a few sentences about a particular situation where you felt emotions that were less than ideal. Perhaps it was fear or anger or frustration, or you were irritated or jealous, or whatever it might be. Just a few sentences about that particular situation, which was not ideal. And then we're going to go ahead and work through our practice, still working with back bends and heart opening and building prana in the heart, but a few different ways of doing it, which we'll be doing every week this month. And then I will have your self-inquiry regarding the situation at the end of class when we've cleared the clutter from the mind and lit up our heart and take a closer look at our self-inquiry. So just a couple of things to have handy for practice today. I don't usually work with straps in these recorded practices because I'm not sure if everybody has something that they can use. But if you don't have a yoga strap, have a belt that you can loop so that it is approximately the width of your collarbones when you hold it up. And just have that spacing done up before we start practice so that we can move easily into it when we get to that part of our practice where we're going to be using that. And have a yoga block or two handy. And you'll also need a blanket. So we're going to start at the first pose we do. We're going to need a rolled up blanket. And I'll show you how I've got mine in just a couple of minutes here. So just have those things all handy. Take a moment to gather those if you don't already have them. And let's go ahead and get started. So starting seated, just taking a few moments to settle. Long spine. Finding your deep belly breath. Expanding and contracting with each inhale and each exhale. Settling into your seat as we prepare for Kapalabhati breath. And remember, Kapalabhati is that forced exhale from that space of the belly just below the belly button. So inhale, reach up to the sky. And as you exhale, either bringing hands to fists with them pointing up or releasing your hands to your thighs, whichever is more applicable for you today. And then take a nice easy inhale, easy exhale, and then begin at your rhythm. So the exhale, the belly draws in forcefully, forces the air out, and the inhale happens on its own. You might be going slower, you might be going faster, but maintaining that rhythm of a quick, short, forced exhale by snapping the low belly, that space below the belly button, in and allowing the inhale to happen on its own. Keep going for a few more rounds if you can. Getting rid of all the old air, beginning to create heat, and then release that breath. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale everything out. Draw the belly in and up. Retain the exhale. Slightly drop the chin, drawing the back of the skull back and drawing the belly in and up. And then release the belly. Inhale all the way up. Again, slightly dropping the chin, drawing the back of the skull back as we retain the top of the inhale. Retaining that inhale as long as is comfortable. And then when you're ready, exhale everything out. Release the hands down if you haven't already. And just take a moment here with your regular deep belly breath. So taking your blanket, fold it into a square, and then we're going to roll it kind of like a burrito. And you want the length of it to be roughly the length of your spine. So just take a moment to do that, and then we're going to take it lengthwise and lay it down on your mat so that we can lay back on it in the center of our spine and have just a little bit of space between your sacrum and the blanket as you lie down. And there's a couple of ways to do this. Your head can rest on the blanket or off the end of it, depending what's going on in your neck. And you can have your arms straight out to the side, parallel to your shoulders, opening through the heart center. If that's intense, you can also bring your arms about 45 degrees away from your body. Your legs can be spread wide if that's intense on your low back. You can always bend the knees and place the soles of the feet on the mat. Another option, if you're very open, is to reach overhead towards the wall behind you and grab opposite elbows with the forearms resting down on the floor. So be mindful of your shoulders and how tight you are in the heart center and the chest and the pectoral muscles, and take whichever variation is most appropriate for your body today. We don't want to overstretch. This is our very first position. This is like a supported fish pose. And if you've moved into one position and it's too intense, just move back to the previous arm position, and so that it's comfortable for you to begin to soften back. This should not be intense. Then begin to connect with your belly breath here, feeling the expansion and contraction at the navel center and just below the belly button. Nice deep inhales and smooth exhales, and begin to feel that opening through the collarbones, across the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders, and staying connected with your breath, that belly breath, this very gentle opening. So you might begin to feel this expansiveness that we're going to be creating through our whole practice today in the heart center, a release, a connection with that light at the heart. Relaxing into this for a few more breaths. And if your arms are comfortable where they are, you can keep them there. Or you might reach them overhead now and bring the feet together, flexing the toes up towards the ceiling as you actively stretch now. So actively reaching the fingers towards the back wall and actively reaching the heels towards the front wall. Lengthening, and then as you exhale, bring your arms alongside and bring the feet together, knees bent, into Supta Baddha Konasana. You can place a prop under your knees, a couple of blocks or cushions or blankets, so that you feel a gentle opening in through the hip flexors in the inner thighs now, as well as the heart center. And if you're hypermobile and not feeling anything here, you can actually press the feet more strongly into one another and create some strengthening in this area. But only if you're hypermobile. Otherwise, you can relax into the gentle opening of the hip flexors and the heart center. Your arms either resting on your thighs or by your side. Just a couple breaths into the belly here. Beginning to create that spaciousness, and use your next inhale to draw the knees together. And then gently roll to your right side, allowing your head to rest on your right arm. And then pressing your way up to a seat. Take a moment to turn your blanket, your prop, You might even be using a bolster here. The other direction. So it's now lengthwise across your mat. Sitting up straight in Dhanurasana, bring your hands to rest on your prop, fingers pointing behind you, toes pointing actively up to the sky. If you have shoulder issues, bring your hands wider and draw your shoulders back, your shoulder blades toward one another, and then begin to press your arms straight. As you can see, my arms are long here. I can't quite press my arms straight, but I'm moving in that direction, and what that does is it begins to lift the heart and draw the shoulders back. You can come on your fingertips as well if you're not quite reaching your prop, or that facilitates the opening a little bit more. A nice deep inhales, bringing your focus to the inhales here as we begin to build space and expansion. And then you can release your hands to your thighs and just feel that lift in the heart center already, that lightness and that buoyancy. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way into tabletop. So moving your prop out of the way, and set yourself up with wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes can be curled under or straight, but just make sure that the feet are parallel as well as the shins. And then we're going to move into cat-cow. So beginning with your cat-cow, inhaling, drawing the chest forward. As you exhale, chin to chest, belly draws in, spine presses up. Moving with your breath, oscillating between the two. And pressing into the floor, drawing that heart forward on the inhale. Just doing that 3 times, and on the 3rd time, the exhale, we press back to child's pose. And the inhale, we rise back up, draw the chest forward into cow. So 3 times between child's pose and cow. Rolling forward, opening the chest, and exhaling, opening the back body as we press back to child's pose. And now curling the toes under. This time as we exhale from cow, lifting the knees, draw chest to thighs, and press the sit bones up to the sky, downward facing dog. Roll the arm bones open. And again, bend your knees, draw your chest and your belly towards your thighs, and then begin to lift the knees as the thighs press back and the sit bones lift high. Turn your head from side to side, releasing the neck. And every inhale, lifting the waist a little bit higher up off, or the hips off the waist. Use your exhale to step forward. The inhale, lift halfway, drawing the shoulder blades back. And exhale, belly draws in as we fold. 2 more times like that. Inhaling, lifting the heart and drawing the heart forward, the crown forward as we draw the shoulder blades back towards the waist. Exhale, belly draws in. 1 more time. Inhale, lift and lengthen, shoulders and shoulder blades away from the ears, crown towards the front of the room. Exhale, belly draws in. This time we bend the knees and inhale, circle wide and rise all the way up, reaching to the sky and lengthening up, hands to your heart center. Let's just take a moment here and we'll begin to flow a little bit with breath, connecting breath and movements, and really beginning to bring that prana into the heart center. Release the hands, and as you inhale, reach up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring the arms back down. Just do that again. Inhale, reach up, lengthen up. And then exhale, hands come back to your sides. 1 more time. Inhale, reach up, lengthen up, get long. And this time fold forward as you exhale, belly draws in. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward, shoulder blades down. And exhale, step back with the right foot, coming into a lunge. You can use your blocks here under your hands to bring the floor up. And then drop the back knee. An option, keep your hands on your blocks or bring hands to your front knee. Or inhale, reaching all the way up, keeping the tailbone drawn into the body and the front ribs drawn in, lengthening up through the elbows and lifting up through the sternum, through the heart center. Hands come back down to blocks or to the floor, and step that right foot forward, coming back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift the heart. Exhale, belly draws in, we fold, and stepping the left foot back this time. So same thing, second side, hands can be on blocks, hands can come to your front knee, or you may choose to reach up to the sky as tailbone spins down and belly draws in, reaching through the elbows, creating length in the side body, lifting the heart and keeping the front ribs drawn in. Hands back down to the blocks or mat, step forward. So we're going to do this 2 more times to each side. Inhaling, we lift the heart, draw it forward. Exhale, we step back, right foot. Drop the back knee, option to reach to the sky, maybe inviting a slight back bend this time. Stepping forward on the exhale, the inhale lifting the heart. Exhale, we bow, step the left foot back. So same thing, second side, second time. Inhale, reach to the sky, inviting a little more back bend. Exhale, hands come back down. Step forward on the exhale. Inhale, halfway, lengthen the heart. Exhale, belly draws in, right foot steps back. Inhale, reach to the sky. Lengthen, invite the back bend. Exhale, hands come down, step forward on the exhale. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, belly draws in, and step left foot back. Inhaling, reaching to the sky. Nice big breath as we lift, tailbone drops. And exhale, hands come down, lift the back knee. We step back, down dog this time. So taking a moment in your downward facing dog, finding your breath, lifting waist up off the hips. Come forward to plank pose. Now I'm going to be instructing knees, chin, chest, but we're going to stay in plank for a breath or 2 here, just finding the strength across the chest, the shoulders, the legs, the belly. And continue breathing, drop the knees, and then lowering knees, chin, chest. So keeping that arch in the low back, the lumbar spine, and lowering down, sit bones up, and then draw the heart through, coming into your cobra pose. So elbows are back, shoulder blades moving toward one another, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, release down. Tops of the feet press down, pubic bone presses down. Inhale, rise cobra once again. Using the back muscles to lift you. And exhale, release, forehead touches. One more time. Lengthen the legs, lifting them up and pressing back with the legs, and inhaling to rise into your cobra. Elbows draw back, and then press back, child's pose on your exhale. Allowing the back to release. Breathing into the back body, and then rise up to table and exhale back, downward facing dog. Nice deep breaths here. Using the inhale to lengthen the side body and lift the hip bones up off the waist. Inhale, left leg rises, and exhale, step it up to the front of your mat. Inhale, lift the heart, lengthen. Exhale, bow. And inhale, rising up as you circle the arms wide, reach up, reach to the sky. Draw your hands to your heart center. Taking a moment in your mountain pose. Finding your grounding, finding your breath. And then hands to your hips. Take an inhale, sit down, chair pose, sending the sit bones back, and create the action as though you're spreading your feet apart to activate the outer thighs. Hands can also be on your knees or your thighs, and then inhale to rise up. We're going to progress and do that again. Take an inhale, exhale, sit down. Hands can be on your hips or reach them straight forward arms parallel to the floor. Same thing, drawing the feet apart actively, muscularly, energetically. And you can release hands to your thighs, rise up. Let's do one more time. This time, taking either hips or reaching forward, or you may inhale and reach up to the sky. Exhale, sit down in your chair pose. So we're going to stay for a few breaths wherever you've chosen to have your arm position. And as we inhale, lift a little bit higher. And as you exhale, release the tailbone down towards the floor and into the body. Inhale, maybe lift a little higher with a little more back bend. Exhale, tailbone into the body, belly draws in. One last breath like that. And then exhale to release, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and step back into plank pose. Taking a moment in your plank, and we always use the exhale to lower down, so lowering the knees, chin, chest if you're choosing that method. Draw the heart forward, lengthen. And then release your forehead down, lengthen both legs, lift the leg, press them down. Lengthen the legs as much as you can. And then release the back of your hands to the sacrum behind you. Turn your head to the right. Take a breath here. And then your next inhale, lift head and chest and reach the right arm forward. Exhale, back to your starting position, look left. Left arm reaches as we lift. Exhale, look right. Inhale, right arm reaches, we lift up in cobra. Exhale, back to your starting position, look left. Inhale, left arm reaches as we lift. And exhale, look right. Let's take a moment here, just pausing before we move to the next phase. Forehead comes to center. And this time, as we inhale, we're going to lift both arms and reach forward. And maybe lengthen the legs so much they lift up. Exhale, draw your elbows back, cactus arms. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, elbows bend. One more time. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, elbows bend and draw back. We stay here. And as you inhale, maybe you can lift a little bit higher. Legs might be up off the floor. Elbows lifted high, shoulder blades toward one another, and then go ahead and release, forehead down. You can bring your arms alongside your torso, head turned to the right, or if it's more appropriate for your neck, stack your hands under your forehead and center. You might rock your hips from side to side. You might bend at the knees and windshield washer your knees from side to side to release any tension in your back. And if you've got your head turned to the right, you can now turn it to the left. Breathe deep into the belly and allow the belly pressing into the floor to fill the low back. And then when you're ready, press up and back, child's pose. Release the back a little bit more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, each inhale, we lengthen the hips up off the waist. Inhale, left leg rises, three-legged dog. And exhale, step it up between your hands. So pivoting the back foot down for warrior two. So the back foot's parallel to the back edge of your mat. And then rising up. Take a moment to reposition your feet if you need to. And then take a moment to check in with your front knee so that the knee stacks right over the ankle. And draw your torso up so that shoulders stack right over top of your hips, extending both arms, looking over your front fingers. Inhale, reach up, peaceful warrior. So now we're creating space in that left side body all the way from the hip crease up to the fingertips, creating space between the intercostal muscles, between the ribs, space for breath. And then we exhale into side angle. So left forearm comes to the left knee. Right arm reaches overhead. So now we're creating lots of space in that right side body from the outside edge of your foot to the fingertips. Inhale, rise up, straighten both legs. Feet come parallel, facing the long edge of your mat. And then bring your hands to the sacrum, either fingertips pointing straight down, or bring your thumbs pointing toward one another and fingertips pointing towards your front hips. Elbows are back, shoulders rolled back. Inhale, invite a back bend as you lift, and then exhale, folding forward. Let your hands slide down your legs. And then you can grab either your big toe with peace fingers or grab ankles or shins, whatever is available to you for a comfortable wide-legged forward fold. And then you can release your arm straight out to the side. And as you exhale, cross left arm under right and grab your shins, calves, knees, whatever's available to you. Taking a couple breaths here, releasing the upper back. And then spread your arms wide. This time, opposite arm comes underneath. So right arm is under, left arm over. Same thing, grab shins or calves or knees. Let's take one more breath here. And spread your arms, release your hands to your hips, lead with your heart, slowly rise on an inhale, come all the way up. And then turn your right toes to the short end of your mat for Warrior Two on your second side. Remember keeping shoulders over hips, bending that front knee right over the ankle, and then spreading the arms, looking over your front fingers. And sometimes we have to roll that inner thigh up and back in order to keep the knee over the ankle. Drawing the feet toward one another as well as pressing down to create muscular action in the legs. Peaceful warrior on your next inhale. Again, breathing space in between the ribs on that right side body now. From the hip crease all the way up. Taking one more inhale and using the exhale to move into side angle on this side. So elbow to the knee. And creating one long line of energy with the body, rotating the navel center up towards the ceiling as you exhale, draw the belly in and spin it up towards the sky. Maybe looking to the sky as well if that's appropriate for your neck. Inhale to rise all the way up, straighten both legs, feet come parallel to the long side of your mat. This time intertwining your fingers behind your back or just pressing thumb or fists into one another. Open the heart center, forward fold. Let the head drop towards earth. Tiny micro bend in your knees. And if you're really tight in your hamstrings, maybe bending the knees a little bit more. Actively pressing the feet down. The inhale brings you up, leading with the heart. And then turn your left toes to the top of your mat. Straightening that front leg. We're moving into triangle pose next. So creating lots of length on that left side body as we reach forward. And then, I forgot my block, drop the hand down either shin or to a block. It's nice to have a block either outside of your foot or inside the foot. And then the top arm reaches up to the sky into your triangle pose. Belly twists up towards the ceiling on your exhales. Then we're going to add some breath retention into your triangle pose. Inhale, reach the arm overhead if this is appropriate for you. And then exhale back to your starting position. 2 more times like that. Inhale, reach overhead. Gentle pause at the top of the inhale if that's appropriate for you. And exhaling back, pressing both feet down, especially that outside back edge. Last breath. And as we come back into triangle, press into both feet, come all the way up. Turn the feet parallel. Release the arms down. Pause here, feeling the prana in the heart center building. Feeling buoyancy in the collarbones. And then turn the right toes out. Bring your block, if you're using a prop with you, along with you. Again, either outside or inside the foot. Create length on the right side body as we reach forward and hinge. Releasing that arm down to your block or to your shin if you don't have a prop. And then belly twists up to the ceiling as you reach the opposite arm up. Same thing with our breath. Inhale. Reach overhead, possibly pausing at the top of your inhale. Exhale, come back to your starting position. 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, we reach, maybe pausing. Exhale, come back to start. Last one. Pressing to both feet. Inhale, reach overhead. And exhale, come back to start. On our next breath, we inhale and rise all the way up. Turn your feet parallel. Take a moment's pause once again. Feel the energy and the prana in the heart center and the buoyancy of the collarbones. And then let's turn to the top of your mat. Hands come down. We step back into downward facing dog. So option here to come into child's pose. Option to stay in downward facing dog. Or flow and flush this out. Come forward, lower down, knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga. Rise up into cobra. Or maybe you press up to upward facing dog. And exhaling back, downward facing dog. All of us meeting in down dog wherever you chose to be through that flow. Then bend the knees. Prepare to come to the top of your mat, looking to the top of your mat. On the bottom of your exhale, step, walk, or float. Inhale, heart lifts, shoulder blades down, your back. Exhale, fold, belly draws in, and inhale, rise up, reach to the sky. Hands through your heart center. So take a moment, we're going to grab that strap or your belt, whatever you're using, and remember we want it about collarbone width. So we're going to put that strap on both arms behind your back, so just above the elbows. So it's not the easiest thing to get it on, so take a moment to get your strap in place and get everything adjusted. And if you need a moment to adjust, just pause the video. And then at the top of your mat, stepping the right foot back. Actually, I forgot. We're actually bringing your thumbs together on the sacrum, fingers pointing towards the front hips. So we did this before in our forward fold. Stepping the right foot back. So the shoulders are rolled back. The shoulder blades are down the back. And moving into our warrior one position, front knee bent. So every inhale, the front ribs draw in. Tailbone moves into the body, and we lift the heart center, lift the collarbones. So you really feel this as the arms press into the strap, and you inhale and lift a little higher. Belly draws in on the exhale. And then release the hands from the sacrum out behind you. Maybe even bending the knee a little bit more. And possibly, if it's comfortable, add an inhale retention to the top of the breath. And the exhale, belly draws in. This can be really intense, so move mindfully, breathe mindfully. And then straighten the front leg. We're folding forward so the torso comes parallel to the floor. So this is a a variation of pyramid pose, still reaching the fingertips back, and then bend the front knee, and we slowly shift into warrior 3. So you've got that uplifting motion happening, and then bend that knee, step it back, step to the top of your mat. And we're going to just keep the strap on so that we can move right into second side, but take a couple breaths in mountain pose, feeling the effects of that side and the lift and the prana and the energy in the heart center. And then preparing, stepping left foot back for warrior 1. And then hands to the sacrum, thumbs pointing toward one another. Bend the front knee. Same thing as the first side. So tailbone draws into the body. The heart lifts on the inhale, retaining the front ribs into the body so they're not puffing forward. And then release the hands out behind you. Shoulders are rolled back, shoulder blades toward one another. Possibly adding a gentle retention to a count of 1 at the top of your inhales here. Really feeling that stretch or straighten the front leg, and then begin to fold forward into pyramid pose variation, reaching the fingertips up and back, crown forward, pressing into both feet. And then bend the front knee and shifting into warrior 3, not holding it for very long, but really feeling that uplifting energy. And then bend the front knee, step it back. And then step forward, mountain pose. We're going to release the strap. Take a moment to release that. And wow, feel that lift. You almost feel like your collarbones are going to float right off your body. The heart is so open and expansive. And all that energy at the heart center, lighting up the heart. Taking this moment's pause for awareness, and then inhale to reach up to the sky. Exhale, we fold forward. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, we fold and step back, downward facing dog. Drop to the knees as you exhale. And possibly coming into child's pose here. And just come into the awareness at the heart center. You might choose to stay in down dog here, or you might also choose to take a flow, but we really want to bring awareness to all that energy you've created in the heart center. Finding your breath, whichever you're at, child's pose, down dog, or coming back to down dog in your flow. And now we're going to move into some lunges with the knee down. So I like to have a blanket under my knee to give a little bit of softness there. So if you want to grab your blanket, you can, and then come back into downward facing dog. And on the inhale breath, right leg floats up, 3-legged dog. And then as we exhale, step that foot between your hands. Use your right hand to help it get there if you need to. Drop the back knee. Find your comfortable spot and then come up. So we're going to play with our lunges a little bit, and we don't need to push forward quite yet. We want to draw the tailbone in, draw the belly in. So we're almost at 90 degrees, and then lift the left hand up. So left leg is back, left hand reaches up. And we're going to use our right hand just to the right of the belly button, kind of in the hip crease area, to get into that psoas muscle. So as you inhale, lift through the elbow, and as you exhale, use that right hand to press into the belly, press it back, and draw the skin up. So we're really getting into the deeper hip flexor muscles, the psoas. So a couple more breaths like that. The right hand drawing in, and then release. Lifting the front toes, we straighten the front leg into a hamstring stretch just to release a little bit. And now if you had your toes curled under, uncurl them. We're going to come into another variation, still same side, But we're going to shift forward. So now I'm bending the back leg, reaching the toes to the sky, and making sure that you're not on your kneecap, but kind of the top of the knee or the bottom of the thigh resting on your mat. And you might keep both hands on your front knee, or you might reach your left hand back to the left foot and keep your other hand on your knee. So we're facing the top of our mat. You might even reach both hands back. Now don't force this. This is a big stretch, both for the heart center as well as the psoas, but keep the tailbone into the body and the front ribs drawn in. So this is really intense. It's kind of like King Arthur that we've done at the wall. And then we're going to release. Release that down, lift the back knee, and let's step back down dog. So if you want to stretch that out with a three-legged dog or whatever you need to do that can be intense, go ahead and do that. And let's prepare to move into our second side. So left leg floats up, three-legged dog. And then the exhale, we step that foot up between our hands. Bring the knee down to your blanket or your mat, and then rise up. So we're starting in that almost 90-degree lunge with the tailbone dropping, ribs drawn in, heart lifted. Reach the right arm to the sky, and then using that left hand just above the hip crease, left of the belly button as we exhale, press it in and draw the skin in and up. Really getting into that hip flexor, the psoas muscle. The inhale, we reach through the elbow and lengthen. The exhale, we press in and up, facilitating that opening of the psoas and lengthening of the psoas. Exhale, release down and shift the hips back to release, straightening that front leg. And now we're moving into the little more intense stretch, bending the back knee and making sure you're not on your kneecap, that you're at the top of your knee. And you might use blocks here. Sorry, I didn't say that on the first side. So you might keep your hands on your blocks, you might keep your hands on your front knee, or you might reach the right hand towards the right foot or ankle. And keep the tailbone drawing in, front ribs drawn in. And you'll feel the stretch in the thigh muscles, the psoas, and you might reach both arms back, facing the top of your mat. Each breath, the heart lifts, and we breathe space into those hip flexors. And then we're slowly going to release, let that foot come down, and then lifting the knee, stepping back, downward facing dog. And again, stretch that out however feels best for you. If that's three-legged dog, go ahead and do that, or rocking from side to side in your down dog. And you can move your blanket out of the way. We're done with that. It's taking a couple breaths here. And then coming forward to plank pose, we're going to lower down either chaturanga and up dog, or all the way down and coming into cobra, and finding your way back to downward facing dog, just flushing that out. And you might pause in child's pose along the way. Stepping forward at the bottom of your exhale, inhaling halfway, exhale, fold. Inhale, press into both feet, rise all the way up, reach up, look up, hands through heart center. Take a moment's pause in your mountain pose, releasing the hands. And then we're going to bring our block within reach. We're going to flow back down so that we can reach our block when we get there. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the heart. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Drop down to your knees and grab your block. You can also do this on a bolster, or you might even need two blocks. So we're going to, we're sitting basically on our heels on our block, and then roll your calves out. So the muscle of the calf rolls outward, so you're kind of sitting between your calves on your block. Some of you I know can sit directly on the floor in this position. That's not appropriate for my knees. So you're orienting the tailbone forward towards your knees. And as we begin to find where you're going in this pose, and you might stay with arms straight here, lifting the heart center. Or you might come to elbows. Some of you might even lay all the way back down. But as you make your progression, lift the hips off your block or off your mat and send the tailbone forward. Draw the pubic bone up. Each progression, sending the tailbone forward towards the knees, towards the top of your mat, and the pubic bone up. And so finding your position where you're feeling an opening through the quadricep muscles, the front of the thighs, and the hip flexors, and the front body, without forcing and causing pain in your knees. Take it to wherever is appropriate for you. And then we slowly begin to make our way back up. And you can remove your prop if you were using the block. Then finding your way back into downward facing dog. Oh, sorry. From your down dog, coming down onto your mat, onto your belly, have that strap handy. We're going to move into bow pose. So if you can't easily reach your feet for bow pose, grab your strap and have it handy. And so just lying on the belly for a few breaths after that intense stretch, maybe rotating your ankles, maybe windshield washing your knees, maybe reaching forward with your arms. And now preparing to move into bow. So if you can't reach your ankles, grab your looped strap and place it over both feet so that you can reach. If you can easily reach your ankles, then you don't need the strap, but just have it handy if you can't. So, bending the knees, forehead down on the mat, reach to your ankles. Shoulders roll back, shoulder blades toward one another. And then begin to press the shins towards the back of the room. And lift the heart, lift the forehead, reach through the crown. And now with every inhale, if you're able, pause at the top for a retention of your inhale and lift a little higher. Exhale it out, belly draws in. Inhale, pause at the top, lift a little higher. Exhale, belly draws in. One more breath like that. Inhale, retain the breath, lift higher. And exhale, release down. Beautiful work. Roll your hips from side to side. You can turn your head to the right with arms alongside your torso. Or if that's not appropriate for your neck, you can stack your palms under your forehead and breathe into the belly here. Maybe you want to even rock your hips from side to side. If you've got your head turned to the right, you can shift your head to the left now. Breathing into the belly, filling the low back, releasing. We're going to press up and back into child's pose and bringing awareness into the upper back as you breathe into the thoracic spine and expanding through the upper back into the low back. Making space. Staying in your child's pose for a couple of more breaths. And then coming up and making your way to a seat. We're going to lie on your back for bridge pose. And I will also give you options for upward facing bow if you choose to take that asana. So just lying on your back for a moment here. Knees bent, feet parallel and hip width. Arms at your side. We're going to move in and out dynamically. Inhale, reach overhead, lift the hips. Exhale, arms come back down. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach overhead, lift the hips. And exhale, back down. 1 more time. Inhale, hips lift, arms reach. Exhale, release down. This time as we inhale up, we're moving into bridge pose and we will stay. And if it's more appropriate for you to come into supported bridge, slide a block under your sacrum here. Otherwise, you might intertwine your fingers under your bum and press the forearms and the knuckles, the fist down into the floor. If you still have it in you, add a little inhale retention at the top of your breath here, just to a count of 1 or 2. 3 breaths here. And then exhaling down. So you can stay here just resting, releasing for a few breaths. You might move into a second round of bridge pose in just a moment, or some of you might want to play an upward facing bow, urdhva Dhanurasana. So if you're moving into that, hands come by your ears, fingers pointing towards your shoulders, and then rising up just like we do with bridge, but coming to the top of your head, keeping the elbows drawn in, and if it's appropriate, pressing all the way up, and you might come to the balls of your feet, which makes it a little bit easier as well. When you're ready to come down, slowly release down. And then all of us come down. If you're in bridge or urdhva Dhanurasana, and just pause here. Feel the energy that those postures have created. Feel all that prana, that life force, that fire, that light in the heart. And then draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around. Give yourself some love. Give yourself some kindness and rock from side to side. And then as you rock over to your left side, on the next round, you're going to release into a supine twist. So releasing the arms straight out from the shoulders, knees are over on your left. And as you exhale, the belly is moving towards the right. And as you inhale, that top thigh, that top knee is moving towards the wall on that left side. Notice the spaciousness in the heart center. Breath flowing easily here, effortless. And then roll back to center. Give yourself a hug once again. Roll from side to side. And then release knees to the right. Extending the arms. And again, same thing, belly button. Twist over to the left on the exhale, and knee moves towards the right on the inhale. As though you're trying to bring your knees to stack, even though they might not quite make it there energetically. We were moving in that direction. Soften into the pose. Nice, effortless breath. And then inhale, coming back to center. Rock and roll from side to side again. And then reaching the arms overhead, soles of the feet to the sky. Reaching through the heels and extending the arms overhead. Staying here for a few breaths, allowing the low back to sink into the floor. Allowing the sacrum to get heavy and sink into the floor. Letting your breath become softer here. And in your next exhale, bring the arms back, draw the knees into the chest. And we're going to move into our final Shavasana. So if you need to grab a sweater or socks, a blanket, a bolster. Begin to gather those items for yourself to get warm and comfortable. So we've done a lot of movement and worked a lot with the inhale, which is very stimulating to the nervous system. So now we need to give the nervous system what it needs, and that is Shavasana. Allowing the nervous system to begin to calm, to soften, and for the body to absorb all the energy you created through this practice. So feet wide, arms slightly away from your side so palms can turn up. And begin to soften your breath, finding that belly breath. And just bring awareness to the sensations in the body. That fullness, the prana in your heart center. Maybe you even feel the tingle of energy throughout your body. A calmness in the mind, a softness in the eyes. Allowing the heels to get heavy, the hips, the head, and feel that light in the heart. Feel that connection between the heart and the mind. And now find stillness. Effortless breath. Begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. Bringing movement to the body. Eventually bending the knees and rolling into fetal position and pausing here. When you feel ready, begin to press your way up into a seated position, pausing here. As you find your way to your seat, begin to feel the lower body grounded, the thighs heavy, shins, feet, knees. And as you inhale, lengthen up the spine and lift through the back of the skull and pull the back of the ears back. Bring the index fingers and thumbs to touch. Allow them to rest on your thighs. Then begin to connect with your belly breath, with the expansion and contraction of the belly, with your inhale, and your exhale, and awareness to the heart center of the light that you created, that sense of buoyancy and presence and prana. We're moving into bee breath now, which we normally do by closing off the senses, by putting our thumbs in our ears and covering the eyes. But today we're just going to simply do it like we're doing a silent om, the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth where the teeth meet. And taking an inhale and allowing the vibration to come through. Feeling the vibration behind the eyes and up to the skull. Continue with each breath using the exhale to create this vibration of Om in the heart center. So it's rising from the heart. And as you continue, feel that vibration include both your heart and your skull. Waves of delight and vibration rising from the heart center to the roof of the mouth, the back of the eyes, and in the brain. Continue for a few more rounds. Continue with your own vibration, your own breath. Awareness to the feeling, the sensation of the vibration. And as you finish your last round, bring awareness to the heart. And feel those waves of Ananda Shakti, the bliss of wholeness, rise from the heart center and into the brain and the skull. This power of pure joy, pure unconditional delight. That delight is coming from you. It is you. That which needs nothing or no one to feel complete. Compassion, kindness, thoughtfulness, and joyfulness. Allow yourself to sit for a few more moments, connecting with your belly breath and sitting with the echo of those vibrations. And then begin to extend your exhale twice as long as your inhale to begin to ground. Inhaling for 2, 3, 4, and then slowly exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, And exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue with your own count for a few more rounds of breath. Just sitting in this wholeness, this light in the heart, this light in the brain. And then bring your hands to your heart center. Taking a deep inhale and exhaling out the mouth. Then bring your palms to cover your heart center as we Om one time. Allow your head to bow as your eyes flutter open, hands to your heart. Namaste. I invite you to stay for a moment as we move through our journaling self-inquiry. So here is our self-inquiry for today's practice. And with Valentine's Day coming this weekend, I think this is an excellent one, at least it was for me. So your situation that you had that evoked a less than desirable emotion. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into the self-inquiry as to what exactly was it that we were not getting in this situation that we desired, that we felt we needed in order to not have these negative feelings that we were having. So we each have distinctive desires that pull us away from contentment. And there's usually anywhere from 1 to 3, usually about 3 root causes for these desires we have that cause us suffering and lack of contentment. And so it's different for each of us. And so this is part of an exercise to uncover those for yourself. And you will probably find if you do this same exercise with a different situation or do it a few times, that these same underlying root causes are going to be the same thing that keeps coming up. At least that's what I found for me, and that's according to this yoga tradition. That is the main cause of our suffering, are these 3 main desires that are not being fulfilled. And so in your inquiry, just keep digging deeper and asking more questions. Well, why did I feel this way? And for a quick example, a work-related thing. I'm going to say that in a business that I once had, I felt anger because a similar business, I felt like they were just copying all my ideas and doing them without being creative on their own. And it was really irritating me, and I was getting angry. And so when I looked at this particular situation as to why that was bothering so much, why it was causing me so much discontent, and dug a little deeper, it was, I had done the work and I had done the creativity and come up with these ideas, and somebody was just coming along and just taking my ideas without doing all the work that I had done. And I wanted to be recognized for my work. And so I dug a little bit deeper, and it was a lack of validation. And it was also a bit of fear of this other person taking my idea and making it better and making it more successful. So when I dug a little bit deeper, that fear, the root cause, and by the way, fear is the root cause of anger. It was really about not feeling like I'm good enough, not feeling worthy, and that if someone could take my idea and make it better, made me angry, and had that fear that I was going to be shown to not be good enough. And so really the root cause was feeling not worthy. And as I went through other situations, that same root cause kept coming up. And so the second part, besides the digging deeper in this particular situation that you have chosen for yourself, is to figure out how to respond. So next time a situation comes up and you realize it's that same root cause within you, it's got nothing to do with the other person. It's that root cause within you, and for my particular situation was feeling not worthy. The false misunderstanding of unworthiness, and it comes from a lack of contentment of wholeness, so that we feel that we are not whole. And the key to happiness is either making adjustment in the thought that we have of ourself and moving towards wholeness, or getting out of that small view of the self towards contentment. Or if you're just in a really bad situation with a particular person, sometimes at the point where you need to remove yourself from that situation where it's no longer just you. So there's a line there. But anyway, looking at how you can change and not allow yourself to get drawn into that discontent and remind yourself of your wholeness. So that's your homework if you choose to do it. I hope you do, because I found it a great exercise for myself, for my repeated reactivity. And perhaps as you dig deeper, you'll find some of your root causes and your vikalpas, as they are called in Sanskrit, are the fundamental causes of thought constructs, which really aren't true, because we are all whole. So anyway, have fun with that. I hope you enjoyed this new format. And please send me an email or a text if you have questions, thoughts, or just want to share how this went for you. And we'll see you next week. Namaste.